Have you ever noticed how a certain generation seems to have this unique blend of radical idealism and just unshakable grit? They're the children of the moon landing, the civil rights movement, and the birth of rock and roll. But beyond the nostalgia of vinyl records and bell-bottoms, there's a complex psychological blueprint. Growing up in the 1960s didn't just change the world. It actually rewired the human brain in ways we're only starting to understand today. So let's dive into the psychology of the people who grew up in the 60s. Before we dive in, don't forget to support us with hitting subscribe. Let's start. First, let's talk about the post-war psychological shift. While their parents were defined by the scarcity of the Great Depression and World War II, the children of the 60s grew up in a world just booming with possibilities. Psychologically, this created a massive generational gap. For the very first time, young people didn't just want to mimic their parents. They wanted to redefine the self. This sparked an incredible wave of individualism. If you grew up in this era, your brain was conditioned to question authority and believe that your personal identity was something you created, not something you simply inherited. Next, consider their high tolerance for social turbulence. The 1960s were a decade of what you could call chronic collective stress, from the ever-present threat of the Cold War to massive social revolutions happening right on the streets. In psychology, living through such intense change during your formative years builds a specific kind of adaptive resilience. You learn to process heavy news and huge societal shifts as a normal, everyday part of life. This is why this generation often seems remarkably calm during modern crises. Their baseline for what's normal was a world in constant, rapid transformation. Then there's the analog connection and emotional patience. Before the instant gratification of the internet, life moved at a very different pace. You waited for the mail to arrive, you waited for the radio to play your favorite song, and you had to be home by dinner to see your friends. This fostered a psychological trait we know as delayed gratification. People from this era often have a deeper level of focus and emotional patience. They tend to value the process of a relationship or a project, not just the end result, because their brains were literally wired to find joy in the waiting. Finally, there's the fascinating tension between idealism and what psychologists call the endowment effect. Growing up during the peak of the space age gave this generation a unique cognitive bias, a powerful belief in grand future. They truly believed humanity was on the verge of something incredible. However, as the decade's turmoil settled, many shifted into a strong endowment effect. That's the psychological tendency to highly value what you have built and worked so hard for. This creates a really interesting internal conflict between the young rebel who wanted to change the world and the adult who deeply values security, tradition, and the physical fruits of their labor. Growing up in the 1960s wasn't just about a decade on the calendar. It was about being part of a global psychological experiment in freedom, change, and resilience. This generation carries a specific kind of internal compass that balances the roar of a revolution with the quiet strength of someone who has truly seen it all. You are the bridge between the world that was and the world that is. If you grew up in the 60s, or this resonates with you, and if you want to keep exploring the hidden psychology behind every generation, make sure to support us with hitting subscribe, and tell us in the comments, what is the one memory from that time that still shapes who you are today? We'd love to hear your stories. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.